One of China's most valuable companies makes liquor. Kweichow Moutai is a state-owned liquor company that produces Moutai Baijiu. As of this writing, Kweichow is China's second most valuable publicly traded company, with a market cap of over $300 billion. This has always been a bit strange to me. I don't drink much, but I'm curious why this company should be worth as much as PetroChina, Tencent, or Alibaba. So in this video, Kweichow Moutai. Let us first break down the strange name. Kweichow Moutai is named after a regional flavor of Chinese alcohol. The name's first term refers to the region. Kweichow is an old romanization of the Chinese name. Today, if we are to use pinyin, we get Kweichow. Kweichow is a landlocked province in China's southwest, home to about 38.5 million people. It is one of China's less developed areas and leans heavily on energy generation and mining. Moutai is the name of a town within the Kweichow province. Again, Moutai is an older romanization. Using modern pinyin, we would probably call it Moutai. But for this video, I will stick to the original name. So basically, the name is like as if there was a company just called Tennessee Whiskey. Moutai Baijiu is not the only baijiu available on the market, but it is the most prominent. People in the Moutai region have been making liquor for a long time. During the Western Han Dynasty in 135 BC, records find that people in that region produced something called wolfberry sauce aroma liquor, or gojiang. Sima Qian, in his Records of the Grand Historian, records that Tang Meng, the county magistrate of the Han County of Fanyang, traveled to the Nanyue Kingdom. The Nanyue Kingdom is an ancient kingdom covering areas of Guangdong, Guangxi, and Hainan. The Nanyue king treated Tang to gojiang, which he thoroughly enjoyed. When Tang returned to the Han capital of what is now Xi'an, he asked where it came from. Gojiang eventually reached the lips of the Emperor Wu, who called it delicious and sweet. The emperor designated gojiang as a tribute item, meaning that it was of sufficiently high quality to be presented to the emperor and his court. In other words, he put it on his Amazon wish list, right alongside his neighbors' territories. Now that I have told you the story, I can add that it is a bit of a legend. The gojiang that so entranced Emperor Wu seems more like a fermented sauce than a liquor, but histories claim that it is an ancestor of the Moutai liquor that we drink today. Maybe, but I'm a little skeptical, since as far as I know, Moutai isn't made with wolfberries. But we do know that Kweichow people have been making good liquor for a while. In the year 1105, during the Song dynasty, a poet exiled to what is now the border of Kweichow province drank and praised the regional liquor, which they called Zhangke liquor. So, Kweichow people can make good liquor, but again, Zhangke liquor isn't Moutai. Moutai, the village, was founded in the early 1700s as a small fishing village on the bank of the Qishui River. By the late 1700s, there were already a dozen distilleries making regional Moutai liquor. An excavated stone plaque from 1784 proclaims something which I think means Moutai, specially made liquor. Records during the reign of the Jiaqing Emperor, who reigned from 1796 to 1820, praised the Moutai liquor as the best in Kweichow. Its reputation from there on started to build. Baijiu can be made from any sort of cereal, wheat, millet, etc. Moutai Baijiu is brewed from fermented sorghum, which is a type of cereal originating from Sudan. The grain and water used must come from Moutai village, since the taste is tied to the village's unique geography. Westerners have remarked that it is definitely an acquired taste. Moutai's taste is described as a very rough vodka and somewhat reminiscent of a Chinese sweet sauce or soy sauce. A 2009 article from The Atlantic describes the taste as, "Imagine rotten cabbage, ethyl alcohol, and paint thinner blended and strained. It smells like ammonia." Some of these negative attitudes might be the result of drinking cheaper versions of the liquor. It can regularly cost anywhere from $100 to $300 or more per bottle. The more premium stuff is said to be much more smooth. Until the second half of the 19th century, there were about 10 to 20 small distilleries producing Moutai. However, in the 1850s, rebel armies fighting the Taiping Civil War and other local rebellions destroyed those distilleries, and there was no production for a decade. Then, in the 1860s, a scholar official in charge of salt affairs named Hua Dianhui set up a small place called the Qiangyi Distillery. Hua apparently did it because his grandmother told him she tried the drink once while passing through the area, and he saw an opportunity to sell it for formal ceremonies. He bought the land under a closed and raised distillery, hired one of its old employees, and started brewing it. About a decade later, a second distillery was set up in the area, Ronghe, and they entered into a rivalry with Chengyi. And then came a third, Hengchang, apparently the lagging edge producer of the trio. They struggled for a while before a businessman took over and expanded its capacity and marketing heft. Over the years in Moutai, these three large distilleries consolidated their position and became the largest producers of the liquor in the city. Notably, Moutai liquor won an award in the West. In February 20th, 1915, the United States held the Panama Pacific International Exposition in San Francisco to celebrate the opening of the Panama Canal. The organizers formally invited businessmen and officials from the Republic of China to attend. The ROC was then ruled by Yuan Shikai, who would later that year attempt to restore the hereditary monarchy, a deeply damaging move. The ROC Ministry of Agriculture and Commerce sought to gather local products from each of the provinces to display at this exhibition. Apparently, over 100,000 products participated. It is said that they submitted Moutai liquor from two of the distilleries in the village, Chengyi and Ronghe. The liquor then won an award, a silver medal, which brought a great deal of prestige. It then caused a kerfuffle over which of the two distilleries should receive and hold the silver medal. So the local county chamber of commerce held it and printed 2 certificates for the 2 of them to hold. Not sure where the medal is now. The Communist Party of China has long had an association with Moutai. The village was occupied by the Red Army in 1935. There, Moutai liquor was said to have helped raise the soldiers' spirits, allowing them to eventually defeat the Kuomintang at the Battle of Qishui River. The battle was a turning point during the Long March. I keep hearing anecdotal stories of Red Army soldiers using it to wipe their feet and clean their wounds, but it feels too valuable to use for that. Chairman Mao personally loved the liquor a whole lot. He and his comrades drank Moutai at the first banquet after the establishment of the People's Republic, and he occasionally ordered cases as gifts for his best dudes like Kim Il-sung. Because of this heritage, Moutai is the party's preferred drink of diplomacy. Henry Kissinger famously told Deng Xiaoping during a state visit in 1974, "I think if we drink enough Moutai, we can solve anything." And it is a tradition that holds to this day. Presidents Xi Jinping and Obama drank it in 2013 during Xi's trip to Southern California. And when Xi met with Taiwan President Ma Ying-jeou in 2015, they apparently drank Moutai there too. They also drank Taiwan's version of baijiu, Jingmen Gaoliang liquor, which I've tried before and find to be quite nice. In 1951, the Kweichow government acquired the Chengyi distillery from its owner. The other 2 distilleries, Ronghe and Hengchang, were shortly acquired as well thereafter, and then merged into a single company, the state-owned entity, Kweichow Moutai Company. The province continues to hold a 60.82% share today. The state strongly supported the Moutai business throughout various difficulties, scaling up Moutai production with an eye towards export sales. In 1958, Mao Zedong went on a walk with the Kweichow factory manager and personally asked him to take a great leap forward and increase production of Moutai to 10,000 tons. That year, they had only done 623. So the factory marshaled the forces that they could, raising production to 820 tons in 1959 and then 912 tons in 1960. However, in order to do this, they had to seize grain from those who needed it. Records find that 20% of the county's rural population, 122,000, perished from starvation during this period of shortage. Another 1,300 died during the forced grain requisitions. Then came the Cultural Revolution, and the company struggled to maintain its quality and output amidst commodity shortages and political turmoil. In 1978, new management took over and helped grow the factory's output once more. Moutai liquor's quality returned, and the company started to hit very fast levels of growth during China's economic growth periods in the 1990s. It is an interesting company. A vast majority of its sales come from within China, some 90%, and even there it is not something for ordinary consumers. As I mentioned above, it is a very strong and expensive alcohol, so it is more often for toasts and special events or gifts. You don't just crack it open on your sofa at the end of the day. On the demand side, we have the party's strong preference for Moutai. It is estimated that, prior to President Xi's term, over half of the sales of all premium Chinese liquor brands were to the government and military. Another 30 to 35% of sales were to businesses. For this reason, the company's fortunes are closely tied to the party's whims. When President Xi ran his anti-corruption campaign shortly into his first term, expensive liquors like Moutai's suffered heavily. On the supply side, Moutai is limited by how much production they can actually get out of their factory in Moutai. The production process is very artisanal, sometimes requiring years of aging in big urns. It is also very manual. The ribbon on each bottle is still tied on by hand. So this high demand but limited supply situation means that in order to find sales growth, they need to find some way to make more money from the supply they already have. That might mean raising prices. One 18% price increase in late 2017 caused the stock to jump 8%, rallying to a new high, though how much they can do this is limited for government and public reputational reasons. Or they can release more premium lines, including exclusive limited edition labels made for specific events or locations. But this also opens the door to corruption inside the company. In 2021, the company's former chairman was jailed for reselling premium Moutai for years, making $30 million USD in illegal profits while doing so. In 2017, Kweichow passed Diageo to become the world's biggest liquor maker. For a $300 billion company, they're not as big as I thought they might be. In 2022, they generated 124 billion RMB in sales, about 18.6 billion USD, and about half of that was profit. Compare that to another big luxury brand, Kering, which owns Gucci. In 2022, they generated about 23 billion USD in sales, albeit with less profit, 4 billion. Their market cap is just about $58 billion. In February 2021, Kweichow Moutai stock hit a new high, over $450 billion, higher than giants like Disney or Nike. Back then, as is now, the company's market cap was bigger than China's 4 big banks, and those are some of the world's most profitable companies on paper. In 2022, ICBC alone generated $52 billion in net profit on paper. And Agricultural Bank of China did $35.9 billion in 2022 net profit on paper. I asked Doug of Fabricated Knowledge, who studies far more than just semiconductor stocks, about why this company's valuation took this huge step up in the 2016 era. He mentioned 2 things. First, the company has always been undervalued. It prints money, and that ability is only limited by the supply of Moutai that they have at hand. Second, there was a big distribution network consolidation story driving the stock in 2017. Kweichow sells its Moutai through a complicated network of distributors who add substantial markups to the price. In 2018, a new general manager named Li Baofang entered the company, and he sought to cut the number of total distributors and maybe even sell directly to consumers with the creation of a sales office. I want to add a few more things too. There's a large secondary market for historic vintages and special collector editions of Moutai, worth many thousands of dollars. Kweichow has been trying to get a larger piece of that market. And finally, there was an overseas expansion story. Moutai is virtually unknown outside of mainland China. The company has tried some overseas advertising in places like New York and Paris, kind of like Japanese whiskey in the past. In late 2017, the company held a conference with the goal of overseas expansion with the theme, Making the World Fall in Love with Moutai. Part of this distributor consolidation story had to do with this overseas push. It hasn't played out yet, but it still might. I think I've spent enough time on a liquor that I don't personally drink. But Kweichow Moutai is indeed a very interesting and unique company. They produce a beverage that is a legitimate and unique cultural treasure. And its history and success are very closely tied to the history and practices of the Communist Party of China. Alright, that's it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, send me an email. I love reading your emails, and I'll see you guys next time.